So when you're growing delicious food, lettuces, tomatoes, you're going to be really sad when the bunnies and the rats and the birds and the squirrels, what else, James?
Gophers.
The gophers come and devour your entire crop. So you are probably going to want garden covers at some point to protect your hard work. Now, we have found that garden covers are one of the hardest things to design. The students here at UCSC have built and tested a bunch of designs. Some they came up with themselves, some from the internet. And today we're going to show you about all the designs that failed. So let's start here. This is a system that one of the students came up with. Now, on this side here, you have this chicken wire. This sort of works, but as you can see, you can't access the bed from this direction. And we have also seen birds get through these holes here. So they will get through and they can eat up a bunch of lettuce and peck at your tomatoes, etc. Over here, we had this bird netting mesh thingy, but this just doesn't really work. You know, it's very hard to get it tight. It's really clunky, and critters are going to get in through here, and rats will just chew through this before breakfast. This is a design that's really popular on the internet. You have these PVC tubes, so they make this easy hoop, and you've covered it with this chicken wire. But a couple of things we've noticed that fail. A, the birds get through the chicken wire, so they'll get in no problem. We'll show you a video of that. And then maybe we're not great builders, but it's actually really hard to get this to be straight. And so oftentimes there's a gap here, and you know, a lot of critters will be able to get through the gap. And then also in the corners, it was really hard to attach this wire properly. And so we have a lot of cases of this, I don't know if you can zoom in here, this mesh failing at these corner points. So it's just really hard to get this to work. And then it's also really hard to get at your garden stuff in here. So this is decent, but not great. This is a similar design that the students found on the internet. The innovation here was the hinge that supposedly lets you open and use it. We're looking at something that was built maybe 3 years ago. So it worked fairly well in the beginning, but it disintegrates pretty fast. So now you can see it just doesn't really even open, and the corner pieces have started to come off. This PVC has slipped even though it was braced properly. And it's just, yeah, it's not really very practical. And over here, I'm going to show you, some of the failure modes. So that PVC has slipped, and it's just all loosey-goosey and clunky. And as I mentioned before, the birds will definitely be getting through here anyway. And then look, that's not critter proof there. So an improvement here is using the finer mesh hard cloth. The birds won't get through this hard cloth. But this system, again, I think this was from the internet. You gotta be a really good builder to be able to build this. One of the students built it. It works fairly well. They didn't get actually as far as to covering the top here. But I think the main downside here is you've gotta be a really confident builder who builds straight. Otherwise, come and look over here, James. It's just really hard to get this all to line up straight unless you're a really good builder. So we want to come up with a garden bed cover that doesn't take 5 hours to build and requires a lot of building skills. So we'll post some videos about some ideas that we're working on after this video. This is the last design that we came up with. We came up with this because we were running experiments here and they were being decimated by rats and birds, and after 2 years of having everything eaten up, we spent some time working on the bed cover design. Now this works, but it's not really practical, so I don't really recommend this design, but it was effective. So we had this 1/4-inch hard cloth here. Pretty much nothing gets through this, and it's tied to the sides. We have these little clips here that we've used to clip it in, and then the sides can come off, and then the top can come off too. So we remove this, and this is a removable panel as well. Okay. So once we had this design, we were able to grow lettuces from start to end without having them being devoured. But there's some downsides to this design. This wire is really pokey. It's always very pokey. And it actually takes a good chunk of time to dismantle this every time you need to get into the garden bed. It's like 10 minutes each time just trying to remove these pieces and then figure out how they fit back on again. So it's not a very practical method, but it does work. But fear not, we're working on some new designs that we hope will be cheap and user-friendly and don't require a lot of building skills. So stay tuned.